Hi everyone, my name is Veronica Foster and I'm a teacher at Biddeford High School in Biddeford, Maine. And I'm so excited to walk through the poem Year of the Murder Hornet by Tina Crane with you as part of the 2021 Dear Poet Project. So to begin, just a little bit about Tina Crane. She's the Poet Laureate of Rhode Island and also the founder and director of Writers in the Schools Rhode Island, for which she works as a visiting poet. She's taught French, English, and creative writing in public and private schools throughout New York City and Rhode Island, which is just a reminder that your teachers might have a secret double life as an incredible poet that you don't even know about. Before I sort of start reading this poem, I just want to offer these questions that are the ones that I use the first time that I'm sort of like meeting a poem. And so I like to ask myself as I'm reading, what am I noticing? What patterns do I see? And I might not know what to do with those patterns quite yet, but noticing is sort of the first step toward making an observation or getting to an insight. I like to ask myself, what lines do I love? And what lines remain kind of a mystery that I might need to read a few more times? And I like to ask myself, what am I learning about this poet's perspective of the world, and how does that perspective compare to my own? So just some sort of things to keep in mind as I read, and I do hope if you haven't listened to Tina Crane read this poem, that is the next video that you watch. So, Year of the Murder Hornet. I'm noticing right away in this title that I know that this poem is going to be about 2020. I'm sure that murder hornets existed prior to then, but I think many of us learned of their existence in 2020 right before we learned of the existence of the coronavirus and learned about the way that our year was going to look really different. So this title is really sort of rooting me in a specific time period right at the beginning of the poem. Year of the Murder Hornet. Year of the cloud of pollen that chased me to my car across the supermarket parking lot. Year I was overpowered by flowering magnolia petals in a windstorm while walking home. Year of the murder hornet and coronavirus and weather as a system that shaped each day in a way that felt different from the past. Year during which you understood how the neighborhood you grew up in shaped the way you say friend. How the word childhood is the start of a sentence that has no end until you aren't the one saying it anymore. Year of grown-ups with their gravity, making everything a question or a fragment depending on their personal weather, whether some of them were green or deep as trees of your imagining. Year when the way trees speak with each other about each other was more essential than the shade they gave. Year to try to live like trees, upright, yielding, seeking sunlight and silent languages. Year I got a book in the mail about house cleaning as a joke from another poet regarding a poem of mine about life being hard and people's constant quest on the internet to make things easier. Year the cover of the book read, Introducing Your Household Heroes, Regular Products with Multiple Abilities. How multiple abilities sounded more like an affliction than a capacity. Year of nights I lost sleep. Year my mind cradled me. And there's just so much in this poem, and I, hope that you are able to have sort of a personal experience with it. But I wanted to look at just a few lines in particular, and particularly look at these first set of questions, what do I notice, what patterns do I see, to hopefully get you started. So this poem starts, Year of the cloud of pollen that chased me to my car across the supermarket parking lot. Year I was overpowered by flowering magnolia petals in a windstorm while walking home. Year of the murder hornet and coronavirus and weather as a system that shaped each day. And so one of the things that I notice immediately about this poem is actually the way that it's structured and the way that we have this extra set of spaces between the phrases of the lines. And that doesn't come out so much in the reading of it as it does sort of on the page. But it does make me sort of wonder about the meaning of a pause and about the way that last year felt like it contained a lot of pauses. A pause to sort of real life and school and work. And so one of the questions that I sort of have for Tina Crane is, why structure the poem like this? And why make this choice to sort of group some words together and separate them from others? A pattern that I see actually begins in the title. So murder hornets being these like small, dangerous things that are sort of part of nature and uncontrollable, that we then see reflected again in the cloud of pollen that chases the speaker to her car, in the overpowering flowering magnolia petals. And so I'm thinking about the way that 2020 really changed our relationship with nature and the, how much control we thought we would have over nature, and the way that small things in great number, even if they don't initially seem scary, can really change people's behavior. I don't always think about flowering magnolia petals as being something overpowering, right? But that anything in sufficient quality or quantity can be a little bit alarming, right? And so I'm thinking about the natural world from this set of images. I am sure that your sort of takeaways from this poem will be different than mine. I'm looking forward to hearing some of your thoughts, and I wish you the best of luck in writing your Dear Poet letter as part of the 2021 Dear Poet project.